This is why you're not losing weight. Now, of course, the obvious reasons why people can't lose weight are they're eating too much food, or maybe they're just a couch potato. Those are the obvious things. And then you also have people who are on a healthy version of the ketogenic diet to doing intermittent fasting, and even they plateau. Today, you're going to learn the not so obvious things that are keeping you from achieving your weight loss goals. Insulin is at the heart of the problem with slow metabolism. Your body can always lose to that point, but then getting further is a problem. That's because of insulin. Insulin is triggered by sugar and other things that are hidden sugars. Okay. So if you look at, for example, this has zero sugars. This has zero sugars. This has zero sugars. This has zero sugars. And so does this too. But wait a second. It doesn't have any sugar? Well, it has carbohydrates and it doesn't have a lot of fiber. So what's left? Starches. It's basically a string of sugars connected together. And because it's so processed, it's going to act not just like sugar, but worse than sugar on the glycemic index. So it's going to spike your sugar a lot higher, and it's going to cause even more weight gain than something like sugarcane. Sugarcane itself on the glycemic index is, I think, like 74 or 75. The starches in junk food go above 100, and maltodextrin can go up to 185. So even though it's not called a sugar, we're just going to call it sugar because it acts like a sugar. Another hidden one is seed oils. Seed oils can cause a problem with insulin to the point where you gain a lot of weight. Stress and a lack of sleep can also slow weight loss. This is why when you don't sleep good, you might crave the wrong foods or be extra hungry. If you really want to do a good demo, check your blood sugars after a night that you haven't slept. You're going to see they're like way off. And then frequent meals, like in snacking. Devastating for insulin because every time you eat anything, you increase insulin. What do we do to fix this insulin? How do we lower insulin? How do we make insulin work better? It's called insulin sensitivity. Well, number one, of course, you reduce your sugars and starches. Number two, you start to not eat frequently, cut out snacks. Number three, exercise, of course. That's the obvious one. Getting more sleep is also important. But there's the not so obvious things that you might be doing that I need to make you aware of. Even a piece of bread, for example, can bump you out of fat burning for a lot longer than you might think because it takes some time to get into ketosis. It could take 24 to 48 hours. Let's say, for example, you're in ketosis and then you drink a glass of wine. The next night you have a piece of bread. You're just not going to be in ketosis. Why? Because it takes you a lot longer to get into ketosis. It's very easy to bump you out, but it takes longer to get you in because the body is adapting, and that takes some time. The next one is it's actually working and you don't know it. You think it's not working because you're looking at the scale and you're not budging. It's not lose weight to get healthy, it's get healthy to lose weight. And so when you start cutting down carbs and you start burning your own fat, your body is in a healing mode. You're going from a kind of a blood sugar diabetic area to a healthier area. There's really just two things to look at. Number one, did your hunger go away? And secondly, your energy level. If your energy level is high, that means you're using the fat as energy. Those two things means that it is working and you just need to give it more time. Another point is overtraining. I've had people who exercise too much with not enough rest. And all we did is give them more rest. All we did was we took that high intensity exercise program and spaced it out more so there's more rest, and that worked. The next one, and this is really important, is getting enough sleep. I had one lady who came in. She lifted, I think it was 3 million pounds at the gym over a course of a year. Okay. She worked out every other day with her friend. And I think she lost 1 pound in a whole year. Then I find out terrible sleep. Okay. I help her with her sleep. She starts losing a lot of weight, over 20 pounds. Then you have medications. Antidepressant medication, antibiotics can also block your ability to lose weight. Another way to reduce insulin is called berberine. It decreases inflammation. It even gets the mitochondria to actually work a lot better. It does a lot more, but just realize that it's going to be really good for helping you lose weight. Apple cider vinegar. 1 tablespoon per glass of water. Sip it with a straw to make sure that you don't get all this acid on your teeth. There's certain nutrients that help reduce insulin. The most important one is vitamin D, at least 10,000 IUs every single day. But If you're out in the sun at least a half hour, you're getting 20,000 IUs. So it's either sun or a combination of food and supplements to get your vitamin D. Now, of course, the obvious thing too is to go on a healthy version of the ketogenic diet, lower carb, and at the same time do intermittent fasting. But I need to explain what type of fasting I would recommend, especially if you're having a problem losing weight. Now, most people do like a pattern of 16 hours fasting with an 8-hour eating window. And I do recommend it at first. But after you do this fasting, okay, and you get used to it and you get your body to adapt and you're eating healthy, you want to go to an 18 and a 6-hour eating window, and then eventually maybe a 23-hour fasting with a 1-hour eating window. So you're doing OMAD, which means 1 meal a day. But then I'm going to recommend something called dry fasting. Don't eat or drink from sunrise to sunset. Now, that's roughly about 12 hours. And if you did 12 hours of dry fasting, you're going to burn more fat. You trigger all sorts of genes that help you survive. Fat doesn't have a lot of water in it, maybe 1 to 3%, but fat can create water when it's burned with oxygen, especially if you don't give your body as much water. And then graduating into even 24 hours occasionally. So let's say today you're going to hydrate very well. Okay. And then at 6 o'clock, no food, no water. Then you go to sleep tonight. You wake up in the morning, it's 6 o'clock. That's 12 hours. You're dry fasting as well. You're not eating or drinking all the way until 6 o'clock at night, where you have your first meal, and then you can start drinking water. That gives you 24 hours. That's a pretty darn good dry fast, and you're going to notice some really good change with that. So I guarantee if you apply any of the things I talked about today, it's going to help you. But if you haven't seen my video on dry fasting and you want a little more information about that, I put that up right here. Check it out.